Hello, everyone. Tom with Capo Fetish. What are your go-to blues albums? What do you turn to when you need a little lift, or you're down in the dumps, or you just need a dose of good authenticity? Here are mine. Here's a handful of mine that I turn to in times of need. They're almost like therapy albums. First off is 1968's Eda James, Tell Mama, recorded at Muscle Shoals in Alabama. This album is under 30 minutes long, and it's just an absolute powerhouse album. You got Tell Mama, which Janis Joplin later did a cover of. I'd Rather Go Blind, which Rod Stewart later did a cover of on Never a Dull Moment. Watchdog, The Love of My Man, great ballad. I'm going to take what he's got. The Same Rope, Security, Steal Away. One of my favorites on here is called My Mother-in-Law, real funny track. Don't Lose Your Good Thing. It Hurts Me So Much. Just a little bit. I mean, there's just no filler on this album whatsoever. It is just a great uplifting kick in the ass record from 1968 from Eda James. And I just love her. She's just a real spitfire. It's just amazing stuff. What can I say? So if you never heard this album, check it out. She put out a lot of great material, but this one's on the top of the list for me. Tell Mama from 1968. Fantastic. Another one from 1967 that I really, really love is Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign. Just another perfect blues album, very uplifting. I love his like soulful vocals. Of course, his guitar playing is fantastic. You've got most of Booker T and the MGs behind him playing. You've got Steve Cropper on guitar. You got Booker T. Jones on piano, along with Isaac Hayes. You got Donald Duck Dunn on bass, Al Jackson Jr. on drums, and the Memphis Horns. What else can you ask for? I mean, this is just fantastic. It's raw. It's in your face. And along with the great rock-oriented numbers, blues-oriented numbers, like Born Under a Bad Sign, of course, which Cream covered on Wheels of Fire. You got these really, really soulful ballads like The Very Thought of You is really good. I Almost Lost My Mind. You've got The Hunter. If you listen to The Hunter, you realize that Robert Plant took a good section of this song for the song How Many More Times on Zeppelin 1. Oh Pretty Woman, he does a version of Kansas City. I mean, it's just one of those oh, and then there's another great one on here, Laundromat Blues. I mean, this is just another just stellar, perfect, seamless blues album that always picks me up when I need it. And another great one here from 67, Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign from 1967. My absolutely favorite blues artists of all time and favorite blues albums of all time are Howlin' Wolf's Rocking Chair album and Moanin' in the Moonlight. Moanin' in the Moonlight came out in 59. It's basically just a collection of singles from 51 to 58. And you've got Shake For Me, Red Rooster. I mean, this is pretty much like the ideal blues album, right? I mean, Howlin' Wolf, that voice, there's just nothing like it. I mean, it's therapy, this music, right? Then you've got the Rocking Chair album. I mean, most of these songs have been covered by everybody, right? You got Spoonful on here. You've got Backdoor Man, Little Red Rooster, Shake For Me, Wang Dang Doodle has always been a favorite of mine. This is another just perfect, both these albums. This is a twofer from MCA back in the day in the beginning of CDs where they would put out twofers. And I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this album. This has to be probably in my top 20 most played albums of all time. And Evil, God, I love that track. Smokestack Lightning, How Many More Times, Moanin' at Midnight, Tell Me, which Stevie Ray Vaughan covered, I believe on his first album, Texas Flood. I mean, this is just perfection here. Hubert Sumlin on guitar. I mean, just really incredible stuff. So Moanin' in the Moonlight and the Rocking Chair album from Howlin' Wolf, both albums pretty much singles released between the early 50s, late 50s. Absolute must for any album collection here. I also bought the Chess Howlin' Wolf box set, which has about 4 or 5 CDs in it, which really covers about everything. But this just has a flow to it that you just cannot beat. So good stuff here from Howlin' Wolf. And here are the two. Here are two more that are just really unbelievable blues albums. This is a collection, a Willie Dixon chess box collection back in the late 80s. Chess slash MCA were releasing a lot of these 2-disc box sets, anywhere from Eda James to Chuck Berry, on and on. This is just amazing. One of the greatest blues songwriters of all time. Let's take a look at these 2 CDs here, what's on these. Here's the flip side right here. That's 1 disc. That's another disc here. I mean, look at these songs on here. We've got Howlin' Wolf doing Spoonful, Otis Rush, You Know My Name, Coco Taylor doing a version of Wang Dang Doodle. All these songs written by Willie Dixon. I mean, just an amazing songwriter. We got Coco Taylor doing Insane Asylum, which is just an incredible track. Little Walter doing Dead Presidents. More Howlin' Wolf, Backdoor Man on here. Howlin' Wolf doing his version of I Ain't Superstitious, which Jeff Beck covered on his first album, Truth, with Rod Stewart. On this one, you've got Little Walter doing Mellow Down Easy. Jimmy Witherspoon, When the Lights Go Out. Bo Diddley, Pretty Thing. I mean, you just cannot beat this box set. If you could call it a box set, it's just 2 CDs. But this is one, too. I have listened to a lot on my iPod over the years. An absolute must. Came out in 1988. This is the Willie Dixon box set. And there's a cool little booklet in here that explains the songwriting process. And really some cool pictures. Just an incredible talented man. Willie Dixon, another one I return to quite a bit. Another one too, bought this back in 1990 when it first came out. I knew very little at that time of Robert Johnson. I knew some of the covers that Cream did, like Crossroads. But this guy, it seems to be, Robert Johnson pretty much shows up on my iPod. I have an iPod of about 10,000 songs. And he comes up more than any artist. I'm walking, I'm hiking, and there's Robert Johnson, like this ghostly kind of ambience going on while I'm walking or hiking. And this is just an amazing box set here. Everything he recorded. Half the songs recorded in San Antonio Hotel in 1936. The other half recorded at a Warner Brothers building in Dallas in 1937. So, I mean, everything he recorded within like 6 to 8 months. There's various versions of like Me and the Devil Blues, Stop Breaking Down Blues, Traveling Riverside Blues, Milk Cow Calf Blues. Some of my favorites on here, though, are Hellhound on My Trail, Ramblin' on My Mind. I mean, this is really where it starts, folks, right here with Robert Johnson. I mean, guy was like 30 years ahead of his time. So many people influenced by Robert Johnson. I think the original album came out in like the 60s, early 60s, King of the Delta Blues, I think it was called. But I never really heard much Robert Johnson until this album. And when I hear these recordings, I think about just, the time it was recorded during the Depression. He's like playing in a hotel, very primitive recording equipment. And I have a real thing for these like real historic recordings. I think they're fascinating, like this and Bessie Smith and on, that whole period, 20s and 30s. There's just something amazing about these recordings, and it's his guitar playing. It almost sounds like there's 2 guitars playing at the same time. His vocals are awesome, very soulful. I mean, you just can't go wrong with this stuff. And I think how I really, really got into it was when I got an iPod years ago, and I put these songs on my iPod. And like I said in the beginning, they just constantly are showing up, just popping up on shuffle all the time. So it's just really, really magical stuff here. Robert Johnson, the complete recordings from 1990. And this ended up winning a Grammy Award for Best Historic Recording in 1991. So I remember first hearing or reading about this particular box set in the LA Times. And I was just drawn to this story about Robert Johnson and how all these recordings were in one set. So I had to go out and buy it. So it was like one of the first blues sets I ever bought. So again, Robert Johnson, the complete recordings, hear them all the time on my iPod. I love this stuff. Another one too, not many people talk about, and I think this guy needs to be talked about more. He was popular in the 70s, but I think his first album is absolutely stellar, and that's Johnny Wyinner's The Progressive Blues Experiment from 1968. It's been released on various labels over time. This is obviously a CD reissue on Capitol. But there's just not a bad moment on here. And Johnny is just cooking. The recording's really raw. Almost sounds like it was recorded in some kind of like hall or something. Very raw recordings. Of course, you have the just absolute classic Meantown Blues, which is like a Johnny Wyinner standard. Rollin' and Tumblin', tribute to Muddy. 44, It's My Own Fault. I love his vocals, Johnny Wyinner. I don't know if any of you out there have the Johnny Wyinner and Live. We just lost Rick Derringer recently. He was on that album. And that is a kick-ass live album. And this is a kick-ass debut album here for Johnny Wyinner. So if you never heard this album, check it out. Johnny Wyinner's The Progressive Blues Experiment from 1968 is just a seamless, perfect blues album. And it really, really gets you moving. Very uplifting, very life-affirming. So good stuff. And then, of course, this one here, this album here, my dad passed about 14 years ago. And this was kind of therapy, this album for me. I mean, I had this constantly playing in rotation for days and days. The Best of Muddy Waters. This came out in 1958. Of course, the CD reissue from MCA Records. Everything on here, just amazing. I Just Want to Make Love to You, Long Distance Call, Louisiana Blues, Honeybee, Rolling Stone, I'm Ready, Hoochie Coochie, She Moves Me, I Want You to Love Me, Standing Around Crying, Still a Fool, and I Can't Be Satisfied. Just amazing stuff. All these recordings between like 48, what is it, right? 1948 and 54. So ahead of his time. And there's another one I have too that I really dig called Muddy Waters at Newport Live. It's just fantastic. This stuff is just timeless and great therapy too. This really got me through a heavy time. Best of Muddy Waters, 1958. Really good. And last but not least, John Lee Hooker. John Lee Hooker, I saw him open for, this is a best of from Rhino. I saw him open for Robert Cray at the Universal Amphitheater in 1990. And for me, that was the highlight of the show. I like Robert Cray, but just seeing this old blues guy sitting on a stool with a spotlight, just playing some down-home blues was just absolutely amazing. I think just seeing any of these legends, you know, just mind-blowing. So I saw him kind of towards the end of his life, but he had a spotlight on him. I think there was like a standing ovation at the end for him. Really mind-blowing. This is a great compilation from Rhino, but years ago I was on a road trip, driving through somewhere like the Southwest, and you know, sometimes you have those gas stations or those mini marts, and they have those like cheap $3.99, $4.99 cassettes or CDs, and I decided to pull the trigger on this John Lee Hooker Master of the Blues 12 hits, and this is the one I play the most. There's something about these 10 songs that are just absolutely amazing. And I don't know what it is, if they're different versions than the ones on this Rhino compilation, but this is just fantastic. Just some weird little independent company called Telstar Records. And I think you've got, there's 6 songs on here. You've got Boogie Chillin', Boom Boom, Dimples, Little Wheel, Frisco Blues, and what else do you have on here? I'm in the Mood, Hobo Blues, Tupelo, Whiskey and Women, Dusty Road, and Good Rockin' Mama. So this is the one I play the most from John Lee Hooker. This is just, there was a time at work I had a cassette player on my desk years and years ago. And I had this was being played for like weeks and weeks and weeks. I couldn't stop playing it. So got me through the days, got me through the 8 to 5 grind. So those are just some of my go-to blues albums that I always return to. I have others, but these are the ones I probably play the most. What are your go-to blues records? Let me know in the comment section. I'm curious. As always, thanks for watching. If you dig the content across the channel, press subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.